Kitchen, episode number 10. This episode is being filmed in between the making of episode number 9, as we have our steak and tomato mixture just simmering away. So this is in preparation for a brownie contest at work. Just like my sugar over there. This is one of my trial recipes to see how it works. And this trial recipe is brought to us by Baking 100 Everyday Recipes. And it is white chocolate brownies. They're brownies made from scratch, so they should be good. So the first thing it says is lightly grease a 7-inch cake pan with butter. We're not going to do it with butter. We're just going to do it with Hy-Vee baking stuff, just because it shouldn't have an effect. So, and this one is actually 8-inch, but I don't own a 7-inch, so there you go. Most people do that over the sink also, by the way. Not me, so. Alright, then it says coarsely chop 6 ounces of chocolate. So, altogether you need 8 ounces of white chocolate. I just have white morsels, which is, I'm assuming, white chocolate. This is the only thing that we had to buy. We own everything else, so I can't give you an accurate estimate of what this costs, but this costs $3, so there you go. But I'm going to actually wait on that, and because there's a second piece. Oh, and when you start making this, we already preheated the oven to 350. Then I also already put a small pot of water to start boiling. And the reason for that will become clear in a minute. So all I'm going to do is measure out 2 ounces. Of white chocolate. And then it'll be in this bowl along with the butter, which is 4 ounces, a half a stick of butter. And then, after this starts getting at a simmer, what you're going to do is put it on top, like that. And then I'm going to turn it down a little bit. So that'll keep your chocolate from burning. You generally don't want to put your chocolate directly on the heat, otherwise it doesn't do what it needs to do. So, while that's doing what it needs to be doing, it says whisk eggs and sugar together. So there are 2 eggs. And I'm just keeping an eye on that. So I'm hoping that this will work out well. So there are 3 categories. One is most sinful.
Okay.
I don't remember what the other ones are. I am prepared, is the point.
You really, really want to win. You just don't know what you're competing
If
in.
I just make the best brownie in the world, I will win one of the categories.
That's fair. That's a fair expectation.
So, so you do know that it's supposed to be self-rising flour, right?
I can check the bag. I assumed it was.
No, we have self-rising flour, but my normal flour is not that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's over on the right-hand side.
Oh, well then. I'm glad you mentioned that because I was not aware.
So there is a difference between flours. One kind is self-rising, and the other kind is just regular flour. Be sure to read the instructions.
Apparently all-purpose is what it's called.
All-purpose flour.
And yet that's a misleading title since obviously it's not all-purpose.
The other thing is this is in no way healthy adjacent to what we're doing today, but it should be delicious. We'll see. Never made it before, which is why we're trying it out. So the sugar that we need is
I'm glad you caught that.
half a cup of brown sugar. I thought there was regular sugar too, which is why I had that. So the brown sugar, it actually says half a cup of generous brown sugar. So I'm going to pack it in there. Sugar, so both kinds of sugar, unlike flour, you can just scoop right out. Flour, you don't want to do that, because if you get too much flour, then it gets dry and it's not as moist and all of that fun stuff. So I'm just kind of keeping an eye out for what's going on over here. The chocolate is starting to get nice, but the butter is not melty yet.
Interesting. I would have assumed that the chocolate would have a higher melting point than butter, but apparently I'm wrong.
Well, the butter is thicker because it's just a half a stick. If I
Oh,
had
that's
chopped
true.
the
And it was
butter-
refrigerated.
Yeah, if I had chopped the butter, then we would probably be better in a better position.
Whatever.
So I'm just going to whisk these two together. If you don't have a whisk, you can always use a fork.
I would say for baking in general, having a whisk is handy though.
Yeah, you should probably get a whisk, but whatever. I mean, they're cheap.
Yeah.
So, but if you're, if you're like, oh, I don't have a whisk, then
Yeah, you can make do with fork.
I don't know why you would have white chocolate and not a whisk laying around your house, quite frankly. Alright, so I just whisk those two together like that. And then I won't need the whisk again because everything else that we're doing is gentle. Now, one of the things that mistakes, those are what they're called, mistakes that people make with brownies is they over stir them, and you don't want to do that. My bowl is moving a lot, and it's very hot. So I'm going to get one of these, and I'm going to fold it in half because I don't want it to get next to, we have a gas stove, and so there's an actual flame. And I don't want to get my fabric down there, but I'm trying to chop up my butter a little bit.
Do you mean to come over there and like hold the bowl or no?
No, I don't. I'm worried this will be one of those things where it's like too many cooks in the kitchen.
No, that's fair.
So it's starting to come. So all I'm doing is just mixing them together. Give that a few more minutes. And normally when you're baking, I would recommend I have my KitchenAid mixer, which is really, really handy. A lot of people underutilize it, but it can get used for a lot of things. But with brownies, I would actually recommend hand stirring it. Just because, again, people do overbeat them, and then they don't turn out as good, and that's no good. Alright, so, put the remaining in a heat-proof bowl and set over a pan of gently simmering water. When melted, stir together and set aside to cool slightly. Whisk eggs and sugar together, then beat in the cool chocolate mixture until well mixed. Fold in the flour, chopped chocolate, and walnuts. So we'll get our flour ready at that time. Actually, while we're waiting on that, I can actually just pull another bowl and measure. It says about 4 ounces of flour. Or, if you don't have a scale, which I highly recommend you get, it's about 2/3 cup. But we'll just do 4 ounces, because we do have a scale. And we can get this ready. Sorry, measuring is important. It's no talking time. And then, once we have that in there, we need 6 ounces of chocolate. So 10 ounces all together on our scale. Or you could reset the scale if you didn't want to do math. This also calls for walnuts, but I personally don't like walnuts in brownies. I think it ruins the whole thing. I don't know, what are your thoughts on walnuts?
I'm not a nut guy in general. Like, there are very few nuts that I enjoy. I'll occasionally snack on like salted almonds or something, but most baked goods I prefer without nuts in them.
I feel like nuts, see, here's the thing with nuts. It's very similar to pulp. It's not everyone likes pulp, but everyone will, and the people who don't like pulp won't drink orange juice with pulp in it. But the people who like pulp will drink
non-pulp orange juice.
Non-pulp orange juice.
Yeah, especially if you're going for a crowd pleaser, I would agree that leaving out the nuts is always the safe bet. Although there are some people that will get sad. Like, I know Nathan gets really sad when people make dishes that don't have the nuts in them that call for nuts.
Yeah, but he also likes coconut, so
well,
really...
there's no accounting, I guess.
Alright, so now it's all melted together. It's very smooth. There aren't any clumps anywhere, so I'm just going to turn that off. And then again, because it's very hot, I'm going to get my tube, and I'm going to take it side to side and let it cool for a couple of minutes. But we are ready with our, the ingredient list is really simple. It's 4 ounces of unsoftened butter, 8 ounces of white chocolate, 4 ounces of walnuts if you want walnuts, 2 eggs, 4 ounces of brown sugar, and 4 ounces of self-rising flour. Actually, it's a really easy recipe. Everything is 4 ounces except for the chocolate is 8. So just double the most delicious ingredient. Or again, if you don't have a scale, then a half a cup of brown sugar or 2/3 cup of self-rising flour. Self-rising flour being different than all-purpose flour. I'm guessing if you did not use self-rising, they'd be really thin.
Yes.
So we're just waiting for that to cool for a second. And then what we're going to do is we will mix this into this, and then we'll fold this in. And the fold is, again, just stirring very gently, not like just smishing it all in there. Fold in the flour, chopped chocolate, and walnuts. Yep, that's it. And the nuts, I mean, if you had chopped chocolate, it'll probably melt a little bit more evenly, but chips are just fine. And then you can skip stuff. I think that's probably cool. Ooh, bowl's not.
I was going to say, the bowl's probably not.
So, pour that on in. Go mango! And then I'm going to get my thing and just see if I can get it out.
Make sure we get all the goodness in there.
So, just gonna stir that together really quickly. And I used a really small bowl. You can use a bigger bowl than this one. But
If you're someone like me who doesn't bake a lot, I highly recommend using a bigger bowl than you think you'll need. Just because when I'm baking, one of the things that makes it the most difficult for me is if the bowl is too small.
so you can tell that there was something warm that went in because the chocolate, or not the chocolate, the brown sugar is turning like a syrupy thing.
So we maybe added it a little soon.
No, I don't think so because it just says slightly cooled.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just go in. Alright, so then for this one, again, just gentle, and I'm taking what's underneath and putting it on top. That's kind of how you fold it. Then we're going to dump it in our pan and stick it in our preheated oven. And then bake it for 30 minutes, or it says until just set, but another way to look at it is until you can put a knife in it and the knife comes out clean. So again, the trick with brownies is you don't want to overmix. So I'm just going to continue mixing until it looks like all the flour is moistened, at which point I will stop. So there's a little bit of flour left. I don't know if you can see that, so I'm just going to try and get that going.
I can hold it up to the camera if you want me to, but from there it's a little hard to see.
So you'll notice I didn't stir that very long. I did not stir it very fast, and then I'm done. And again, that's because you don't want to over stir brownies. It's just something that people do all the time. I don't know.
It's true.
It's like one of those things that people are like, I need to stir this lots.
Well, to be fair, when I bake, I assume you can't hurt. I usually assume, until hearing this, that you can't hurt it by over mixing it. But apparently you can. And if there are other people that make that same assumption, I did. Yeah, looking at how low that is in the pan, I'm thinking if it weren't self-rising, they'd be very, very short, dense brownies.
So just getting it evenly along the bottom. They'd be a little bit thicker if my pan was a little bit smaller. And then going back in with my wooden spoon. At this point, if you have a spatula, you could also get your spatula all up in here to make sure you scrape all the sides, but I don't want to wash another thing, so I'm not going to.
It's nice of you to save me the effort of washing another thing.
Hey, I washed from the last episode.
You did.
So there you go. I help. Alright, so then they're ready. My oven's preset. We're going to go ahead and stick it in, and then we'll let you know how it turns out. Oh, hey, look, there's already a pan in here. It's empty. Look, it's in there.
We all set?
Yeah. Alright, so we're back with the brownies. They were done in a little under a half an hour. I put them on a cooling rack. I don't know why. I thought maybe it'd be cool, actually. Honey!
Oh my gosh.
But anyway, all I did was insert a knife, and it came out clean. And the reason, I think I actually left them in a little bit too long because the edges are a little bit brown. So I had this handy dandy thing. I think it is one of the most useful things in the world. It was really hard to find though. And that way, all I have to do to cut them is push down.
Yeah, where did we find that? Was that at the cooking store in the Dells?
It might have been.
Yeah, there's an outlet mall in the Wisconsin Dells near here, and they have like a cooking store that has really random cool kitchen gadgets. And I think that's where we got that.
But this one's pretty awesome because all you have to do is push down and you get perfect little squares. And if you were a neater person than I am, you could actually make sure that they were all nice and even. Mine are not coming out that way. But, I'm going to fork out, I'm going to pull one out. It's going to be delicious. I actually think I left them in a little bit too long.
No, I don't think so. I mean, they don't look...
Because the edges are a little bit brown.
The edges are a little bit brown, but...
But they're blonde ones, and that's because we didn't use any cocoa.
Yep. Well, the recipe didn't call for it.
They are tasty though.
I figured. Man, right out of the oven. That's going to be really hot. That's pretty good.
They're pretty good.
Are we sharing these with work, or is this going to be your secret weapon?
I don't know. They're a little bit... I don't know if they're award-winning good.
Okay.
I'll let you guys know what we decide. There might be another brownie episode.
All right.